Hi, I'm Jen, and I'm a fantasy copywriter at usesomuch.com. And I use fantasy in my copy by tapping into people's dreams and desires to show your customer how you're making their fantasy a reality. And I believe the best way to make your dreams come true is to write them down because words make it real. So I wanted to continue my video series of how to use fantasy on a website sales page. And again, the goal here is to really lead the customer down to click on that buy button. Because if you're speaking to the customer's desires, then you're going to increase the sales on that page. So let's review the items that I always include on a website sales page.
Those items are headline, customer focused message, subheads, bullet points, call to action, flow, and optional extras.
So today we're going to talk about headlines, and headlines are obviously super important because it's the first thing your customer is going to read when they land on your page. And so the headline really needs to reach out and grab them. It needs to tell them that they are in the right place, that they are understood, and it really speaks to their desires. It's something that they really want. And the other thing about headlines is that there's sort of a promise in there. There's a promise that it's going to give them something that's going to solve a problem of theirs and make a fantasy come true. And then, of course, the other thing about headlines is that obviously you really want them to continue reading down the page. So the headline has to be compelling enough to get them to keep reading. So your main goal for the headline is to just get them to read the very next line. So I thought I'd demonstrate headlines to you today by showing you some copy that I wrote for our website sales page for ohsobold.com. And Oh So Bold is this really neat website that is a community building site for women who are looking to increase the courage in their life. They're really looking for more fun and more passion, and they really want to connect with other women who can support them and give them advice. And they're basically just like-minded women who are looking at making bold changes in their life. And so the first step that I always do when I'm writing copy is really think about the target customer. Think about who they are. You need to know them so well, all the way down to what they eat for breakfast, what they like to do on their free time. And so with Oh So Bold, they're really a busy entrepreneur mom who doesn't make time for themselves, who loves to read, loves to travel, really wants more freedom in their life, wants to have more fun, wants to dance, wants to go to museum, and loves to cook. So those are the things that are really important to just really pinpoint little details like that when you're talking to somebody on your website. So the second step is to figure out what they really want, what their desires are, and what it is that you're offering that's going to help make their fantasy a reality. And so in the case of ohsobold.com, what they're really looking for is more time for themselves, more time to have some more fun, and more time to make bold changes in their life, and the support to help them do that. And then the third step is to figure out how they want to feel. This is super important. What is it that your customer really wants to feel? And in the case of ohsobold.com, she really wants to feel good about the changes that she's making in her life. She wants to feel guilt-free about spending time on herself, about making huge changes in her life, and get support. Have a friend who's there for her as she's doing that. Maybe someone who understands, who's been there, and can help her give her advice along the way.
So I put those three things together and came up with this headline. Are you ready to bring your bold? Well then, girl, turn up that 90s R&B and let's hip hop to it. So there's a few things about this headline that I want to talk about because every word is very carefully chosen. So the first part, are you ready to bring your bold? Right away, you're talking to somebody who's ready to bring some bold changes into their life. And then we're also addressing a girl. So if a girl lands on that page, they are going to feel welcome that they're in the right place, whereas a guy is going to know they're not. The last part there, turn up that 90s R&B and let's hip hop to it. If you remember, our customer loves to dance. She loves 90s R&B, she loves hip hop, and she really wants to bring more fun into her life. So that does all of that right there. And another reason why it's super important to know the details about your customers. And then the final thing I want to point out is the word let's. The word let's is the promise. It's the promise that says, hey, you're not going to do this alone. I'm going to help you and show you how and give you the support and friendship that you need.
Okay, so again, to review, the steps you want to go through when you're crafting a headline is number one, know who your target customer is. down to as much detail as possible. Number two, what are their fantasies? What are their desires? And how are you going to make them a reality? And number three is, how do they want to feel? How are you going to convey that with that headline? And then you want to tie all those three together and really make a promise and make it really compelling and really get that customer to read the next line on your page.
And as you're doing this, really take some time to think about your customers' fantasies. What are they struggling with? What do they really deeply desire? And who do they want to become? And how can you help them do that?
And I hope you'll continue to think about how to make your customer's fantasy a reality. If you want to know more about me and my fantasy copywriting, you can find me online at yousomuch.com. And don't forget to write down your own fantasies, because words make it real.